Hold on, Rhonda. You there, Rhonda?
Yes,
Rhonda here. Rhonda, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So, Rhonda, where are you from? You're from
Missouri.
Missouri. Oh,
hmm
well, I don't know why I thought you were from Jersey. What part of Missouri?
South of St. Louis.
Okay. I'm not sure how far that is from
About
here.
40 mile. Oh, from you, it's like 14 hours.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it's a ways.
So, you sent me a message about your experience. Was this the first and only experience you ever had, or was there?
No, this house is very active.
Oh, okay. All right. So, why don't you tell me again? Well, tell everyone what exactly you wrote in that message and the experience you had, if you don't
Okay,
mind.
but first, I would like to explain to you how far the distance is between the garage fire door and where the baby was sleeping.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just gonna. It's just it's a little ways. So
That's a good visual to do that.
it's quite a ways to go. I'm way back here now, and to be able to hear a baby from that far, it's just not possible.
Oh, okay.
Being out in the garage, you know what I mean? Okay. Well, in the beginning, Isaiah was born with heart issues, so I was really obsessed with checking on him, to make sure he was breathing and his machines were working.
Right.
And I started smoking after I gave birth to Isaiah, and we was out in the garage smoking. And all of a sudden, I hear this cry. Now, it's not a cry like pick me up cry or I'm hungry cry. It's a I'm scared, I'm really scared cry. And he was only like, I don't know, 6 weeks old. And I jumped up and I went to open up the garage door, and the garage door was locked. There was no getting in. And all I hear this baby screaming, terrified. And I couldn't do nothing. I felt helpless. I'm scared.
Uh,
My
and about how
husband,
long was this? How long ago was this?
12 years ago,
Okay.
and my husband, he had to pick the lock on the garage door. Pretty much
What?
broke the garage door, pretty much broke the garage door and pried our way in.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
And I went in there to where Isaiah's sleeping, his machines, his heart machines, everything is normal. And here Isaiah is sound asleep.
That's
Uh,
bizarre.
and newborns don't have tears, of course,
Right.
but his face would have been red, some kind of, something.
So you mentioned the house you live in is very active. How long have you lived in that house?
16 years.
And it pretty much started when you moved in, or
Yeah, well, my husband's wife before me, she passed away.
oh,
So I don't know if it's been, his wife doing this,
oh,
or, we have an old school down at the bottom of our hill that was an all black school back in the day. And that school's still standing. And it still has their names, on the chalkboard and everything
right,
like
right.
that.
Wow, that's something.
So is it them? Is it, Indian? Was there Indians here at one time?
So your
Who
your
knows?
husband's first wife didn't pass in the house.
Actually, yeah, she did. She passed out.
Oh,
She had an aneurysm,
oh my God.
oh,
and they was getting ready down to eat supper, and she's like, "Don't let my baby see me die."
Oh my God.
And she ran out the front door, and she died on the
Oh my
front
God.
porch. It's terrible. The babies
Were
were young.
yeah. What other things have you experienced though in the house
Um,
besides?
we was in bed, and my husband, when we first got together, he used to scare me because I'm scared of the death of the dark. I'm scared
Right.
of anything that goes boo. And he would tease me, "Oh, Wanda, look, there's a shadow." Well, I was scared, and I think it was his wife that turned on the little plastic lantern. It's
Yeah.
like a nightlight, and it went click, click, and the light lantern come on.
Oh my God.
but there's no batteries in it.
What?
Oh,
No, I swear,
shoot.
I swear on everything, there's no batteries
Oh
in
my
that
God.
lantern. And I said, see, that's what you get for teasing me. Well, then we have a bow and arrow that goes over our bed. And that fell down and almost got Steve in the head with that bow and arrow.
Oh my God.
Tell me you moved it since then.
I don't sleep in there.
I wouldn't either.
I am scared to death of this house at night. Scared to death.
And you've been dealing with that since you moved in there
Yes.
and never
Oh,
thought of
no.
having anyone come in and.
Yes, we had it the house blessed, but that
Okay.
seemed to make it matter.
Matter.
Made it more active, I guess.
Oh,
you could
really?
say.
Wow. See,
Yeah.
usually something like that, if it doesn't work, it's like a Band-Aid. You'll get a month or two, maybe 3 of peace, and then it'll start. And in some cases, it comes back even worse. But
Exactly.
usually it will calm things down a little bit for a little while.
Well, it did, but I talked to Judy Kay, and she
Yeah,
told
I
me
know
to
Judy.
she told me to take the mirror out of the bathroom. Supposedly that's a portal.
Okay.
And the mirror was my husband's wife's mirror.
So did you take her advice?
No, because
Oh,
that's the kids' mom.
I get you.
And who am I to take away?
No,
I
I
mean,
understand that completely.
you
Yeah,
know,
that's
her
a
pictures
tough
are
one.
all over the house. Who am I to take their mom away from them? So
Did you think about covering it?
yes, I do. I don't, because it sits right literally in front of the toilet. So when you look into it, it's like scary.
So you sit on the toilet and you're looking at the mirror?
No. I look down, I look to the side, I look up.
But it's literally in front of you.
It's literally,
Oh my jeez.
That's a bizarre place for a mirror.
there was no other, it leads to our bedroom door.
Yeah.
Or
Gotcha.
our bedroom. It's like a, combining room, I guess you would say. Like
It
in a
is.
hotel room.
It's really, God, I couldn't imagine being in your position because you're being a very good and kind and caring person by
Yeah.
thinking of the effect of taking these things away. But in the meantime, they are affecting you and the household and your sense of security within the household when it's nighttime, right?
Right. I think but it's just me being scared. I mean,
Right.
she's never done nothing to
Okay.
me,
It just
but
freaks you out.
right. It's Steve's other girlfriends prior to me.
Oh.
She's turned on the water before, she's opened
Oh,
her.
so she's a
who-
jealous spirit.
I don't know if it's her
Right.
or if it's whomever, but they opened up the silverware drawer and the silverware come flying out.
Oh my God.
They
Between that and
mimic,
the arrow, forget about it.
yeah,
Rhonda.
they mimic our phone. My mom worked at McDonald's
Right.
and she was the manager there. The phone rings at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, who in the hell is up at 5 o'clock in the morning calling me? And I answer the phone. I'm like, hello. And I hear my mom's voice and her laugh. I hear cars in the driveway or in the, the car through.
Yeah.
And I'm like, mom. And I hear her laughing, ringing up money and everything. And
Wow.
she never answered the phone. So we hung up and I called her back and she said, Rhonda, my cell phone's in the car. I didn't butt dial you. I didn't do anything.
So it's mimicking.
Oh, yes.
Now, just out of curiosity, what does your husband say about all this?
He thinks it's funny. But
Okay.
when the bow and arrow almost fell on his head, he didn't think it was
so
too funny then.
Yeah.
I could imagine that's wow. And again, it's one of those things where, God, if it is her, hypothetically, and she's still there and she's making her presence known, there is you might have to make peace and he might have to make peace with the fact that, hey, let her know that, you're together now and it's your home and it's okay
But I
for her to.
But I want her here for her babies, though.
I get you.
I want to be greeting, say, get the hell out of here.
I get you.
But
maybe
but
you could coexist though peacefully.
But that shows what a
not-
caring person
Oh, sure.
you are,
I mean,
Rhonda.
she's-
And that's where, because you're not angry and because you're not, it's just that you're fearful, like it freaks you out. Maybe
Right.
maybe there is a way where you can go in and sit and calmly have a private conversation. If this is you, whoever this is, I'm going to take care of your children. I'm not replacing you,
Yeah, exactly.
and I'm being
Right.
I'm being so respectful, and I don't want to do anything that would harm or cause harm to your children. Or, I mean, I think it's actually I think it's pretty awesome that you're very considerate and kind.
Well, I wouldn't want it if it was my son. I wouldn't want it done to me.
Right.
And
So,
like that thing I sent you, the one before that.
right.
I didn't know if it was a dream or if it was another paranormal thing.
Okay.
But how freaky that my son was born 2 weeks after, or I found out I was pregnant 2 weeks after that happened.
I know.
I sent you pictures of Isaiah when he had the wires and,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Some people say there are no coincidences, right?
Was that a dream or was that real?
So this hasn't had any kind of effect on your relationship though with your husband. Things are good between you, even though there's these issues.
How do the kids deal with it?
They don't believe.
Okay.
They hear a noise. My oldest there's 5 boys total. The fourth oldest says once he sees it, then he'll believe it. He hears it, but that could have just been a noise or what have you.
Well, here's the thing too. And
you said 5 boys?
I have 5 boys.
Ay, 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 ay.
31, 30, 27, 27, and
there he is.
12. And 12. The dog's male, he's 12.
Okay.
The dog's male, the fish is male, the mailman's male. I'm the only person in a 7-person family.
Well, that again speaks to why you're the one who probably experiences a lot of the things that are going on, because you're the only female and the house and her family, and now there's you.
Well, and my 4th oldest, he has autism. So when we first got together, it was really hard for me to understand how to deal with him, because that's just not for the faint of heart by no means.
No, not at all.
I mean, you think a spoiled brat is what you think, but into you know different, So I don't know if she's angry at me or if she is happy what I have done to understand and
Well, if the fact that you can tell the difference now and you have such compassion, obviously she sees that. I mean, I would be so grateful if somebody like you was there looking out for mine.
Yeah,
I can't do it myself.
I think she's just trying to let everyone know she's still around.
I think that's what it is.
What I think.
Although she must have got mad. Why was something going on that made that arrow fall and almost hit him? Was there arguing? Was there a little misunderstanding or him being insensitive maybe?
I think what made that thing fall, it was her that says, shut them up and leave that woman alone. Because he had me in tears. I was crying.
Oh, really? So there was an argument going on or something.
There we
go.
Not really
argument per se, but he was just teasing me, and I'm afraid. And of the dark, I'm afraid of Boo.
I got you.
In the dark, and
so she fired a warning shot.
And that's exactly what she did.
So maybe she is on your side and she's just wanting you to know that she's there.
Yeah.
I can only hope it's her.
Sounds to me like it very well could be.
But then when I told you the other one about the lady that prayed for me at the Goodwill store, and she started speaking tongues.
Oh my God.
Remember I told you about that?
Yeah, you did.
Did that I bring that home? Did she make my baby sick?
No.
I don't know, Don.
You can't go down those rabbit holes.
No.
You can't do that.
I hope not, but why else
I don't
would
think
my
so.
baby
Otherwise,
be
it'd be easy. You know what? Otherwise, we'd be coming home and we'd have attachments and bringing stuff into our house all the time, because there's people that are always negative, period. But speaking tongue doesn't mean negative. And I think people get that confused sometimes. Speaking tongue is what they do when they're in church and they're just, and it comes out. Supposedly that's when the holiest takes over and speaks through you. So it's not a bad thing.
Well, she scared the shit out of me.
What would scare you if you don't know someone and someone does that? They're invading your space. They're coming
Exactly.
in unwanted and they're doing this to you. And
So
they
I
should
don't
ask
know.
permission to do that.
So is it his ex-wife? I pray it is.
I think so. I think, and like you said, there's nothing to be
No.
concerned about from
Crystal
your
said
perspective.
Crystal made a really good point. She says, I feel like she turned the light on because she likes you and didn't want you to, and she knows you're afraid of the dark.
That sounds about right.
You know, that gives me chills. That sounds very good.
Yeah.
Right?
But for that little lantern, you know, like the little nightlight lantern
Yeah, we have them.
that kids would use when they go camping.
Yep.
And it goes click, 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 3
Yeah.
clicks. There's no battery in the bottom.
Wow, that is crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Don't just take like 9 volts, that battery?
No, it takes the big fat one.
Yes, that's a 9 volt. That's
Okay,
the big,
yeah.
Not the 9 volt. What do they call them? The big, I know what you're talking
The
about. It's
square
the big, heavy duty
the
one.
ones that-
Yeah.
And if I was your husband, if I was going to tease you, I'd kind of do it as a moving target. I'd kind of move a lot around the room and make sure.
Well, John, you and my husband are a lot alike.
Oh, good guy.
Oh,
Smart fella. Handsome. Got it. Now you're painting a picture.
Rhonda, we're seeing
Now
eye
you're
to
painting a
eye on
picture.
this,
Crystal,
aren't we?
I understand
Now
what you
you're
go
painting a
through.
picture. Good looking
He
fella.
is
Smart.
complete Italian
Quick-witted.
too, to the extreme, and that could be Steve's twin.
Again, my compliments to him. You're very, very lucky woman.
I ask you all the time, Chris. I ask you all the time if you have your hip waders on.
I don't know what that means.
It means shit's getting deep.
I think this interview went 5 minutes too long. All right. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you, Rhonda, for working this out and for sharing your experiences with us. I hope things get better and you're a little more at ease going forward.
I hope so too. But I appreciate you having me on. I greatly, greatly appreciate it.
Thank you for sharing this. That's pretty, again, that's courageous to get on here and tell everybody and share that.
Now we're
People
going to try
think
to
I'm
have
crazy, or
You're not.
we're going to try to have the spirits channel Luann to figure out how to get in here and join us next. Thanks,
thank you
Rhonda.
again. Bye
Have a
bye.
good night.
You too. Bye bye.
So how are you?
I'm great.
You excited? You ready?
Yeah. Now listen.
All right. So
If I
let's hear
start to
your
drift
your
off,
paranormal experience.
What'd you say,
if I
Luann?
start to drift off, you're going to have to drag me back in.
Oh, he will.
Okay. Anyway, I wrote it out because I
Wrote it
will
out. Okay.
lose my way. All right. When I was about 8 years old, we moved from a row home in Philadelphia to a big 3-story home in Audubon. And we go there to fix it up before we moved in, to scrape the wallpaper, all that jazz. And one time we were all in the car waiting. My brother was closing the windows. That was his job, 56 windows. And he came flying out of the house, scared to death. He said there was a lady up in the attic, this blonde-haired woman, and she was coming straight for me. Okay, well, we got in the car and we left. All right, then we moved in. And the next door neighbor told my parents that every night he would have to come over to the house and go through the motions of scaring a ghost for the old lady to be able to go to sleep.
Oh, yeah. How long were you living there when that happened?
When he told us that,
Yeah.
right away.
Okay.
Okay. And we hadn't moved in yet
how-
when my brother got in touch with the blonde in the attic.
Right.
Okay.
How do you scare the ghost away?
I don't know. He said he would go through the motions of pretending to scare a ghost away so the old woman that lived there could go to sleep.
Okay.
Okay. And then one night, shortly after we moved in, my parents were watching TV, and on top of the television was a glass ashtray, a square ashtray. And it just started to spin around, and it made this great big loud groan, and then dead stopped and laid in 2 even pieces. She was always doing something weird, like these shenanigans. And then a newspaper would just float across the room and then drop like a bomb.
God.
Yes.
Did you ever see her? I didn't hear if you said that.
I never saw her, but she touched me. I could feel her. I would see a shadow figure going down the hallway.
You would feel her. What do you mean by that?
You just
Or
walk
touch.
into a room and you could feel like cold. You just knew she was there. But I
Right.
never felt fear.
Okay.
Was not, people would say, how do you
What about your
have
brother?
enough?
Did he ever see her again?
Not that brother.
Okay.
My other brother, he was sent to bed I have this Thanksgiving, he got punished and sent to his room. He was about 9. And the next morning he asked my mother who the blonde lady in the pink dress was.
Oh boy.
And she said, there was nobody here like that. And he said, well, she came into my room and I was crying and she just touched my face and then turned around and left. And her shoes were too big. And he then mimicked how she walked, like with the shoes that were too big, and went right up into the attic.
Wow.
Yeah.
But your mom never saw her.
My mother, no.
Okay.
No, she again could feel her,
Right.
but the women, she never appeared to the women
Okay.
in the house.
Wow.
Okay. And then like animal paw prints would just appeared on my closet wall, going up the wall. Just all of a sudden
That's
there's
weird.
animal paw prints. Yeah, that was weird. And you'd put something down, turn around and be gone. And a couple of weeks later it would reappear.
And this went on for
The
how
whole
long?
time we lived there.
Get out of here. How long did you live
Yeah.
there?
From 63 to 73, 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, but never afraid of her. So then when I was about 16, a Ouija board showed up in the house. I don't know where it came from. I really have no idea where my mother, she would acquire things. I don't know where this Ouija board came from. My brother and he was home from the Marines.
Right.
So he was in his young 20s.
Okay.
We were messing around with it. And all the Ouija board told us that we had a ghost and her name was Florence. And that she killed Jack in 1910. Now,
Oh my God.
okay, so
So wait a minute. Now, when you say the Ouija board told you that, your hands were literally moving and spelling out all this stuff.
yes, it was just
Okay.
dragging us around.
All right.
That Florence would killed Jack in 1910, and then it was giving us this weird address in Cherry Hill. It just kept
What?
giving us this address, so we finally decided to go ahead and follow it, and it took us to an abandoned house where Winter Ford is right now, but it was an abandoned house, and
Holy crap.
my brother and I go in, and his girlfriend stayed in the car and played with the Ouija board by herself.
Oh, okay.
And this thing directed us around the house.
You're kidding me.
You go upstairs to the second floor, and in the bathroom, there'll be no tub there. We went up, there's no tub.
Holy.
It said it will be in the basement behind a bricked off wall. So we go down the basement and there's this bricked off room and there's a brick wall and there's a hole in it. Now I was too sure I couldn't really see in, but my brother could barely, it was dark, obviously, in that room. And he says, I really believe that there's a tub in there. Yeah, I don't know what was in the tub or, he wanted me to crawl through the hole, but I didn't. That's stupid.
That is crazy, though, that the Ouija board led you in there.
Yes, and to this address. It just kept spitting out.
Did you ever,
address.
this was before internet, obviously.
Yeah.
So you couldn't just Google to see if there was a murder ever committed in that building.
How old were you guys then?
Did you ever think of Googling that now?
I was about 14 and he was in his 20s.
Did you ever think about Googling that house now to see if there was?
It's gone. It's
Oh.
gone. There's a Ford dealership there.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, it's just gone. Yeah.
So she probably did. She probably murdered him in the tub.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, there was definitely this room walled off.
And this was the same person this wasn't the same woman who was in your house, you think?
I don't know. I don't think
This
so.
was someone you contacted through the Ouija board.
Yeah.
This was just an address.
Just kept popping up.
Wow, that's crazy.
Giving us this address. And we finally said, what the hell? Let's go see what it is. And that's what it was.
See, I was telling this guy at the Creeper Gallery we were talking to. He probably watching. He bought a haunted object. I think he might have purchased one or two, and he's doing investigations of his own at his house now. And I told him, be careful, because you're not just speaking to that object or that person when you open up the communication to the quote unquote spirit world. You're opening up a channel to who's ever listening. And it might be just in the immediate area of your home, or it may be even further. And I told him, be careful what you bring in, because what that Ouija board thing, I'm not doubting you. I'm saying if it were true and it did happen, and I believe you, if that were true and somebody murdered someone and you're speaking to them, that's a potentially very dangerous situation if you were to bring
Yeah,
that in your home.
and we didn't think anything of his girlfriend sitting in the car
Right.
talking to herself. Or
People get obsessed with that, and then they
her.
carry that with them into their home, and boom, now you got a problem.
There's a Ouija board in the basement now, and I'm not sure if that's the same Ouija board or not. Right. I don't remember buying one, but it's down there. And anyway, then my mother went to a medium party. They all sit in a circle, and this medium walked right up to her and pointed to her, and she said, "You have a ghost in your house, and her name is Florence.
Get out of here."
Oh, no.
And you're thinking about getting a built-in pool," which we were. And she said, "But you cannot. If you dig up your backyard, what you'll find will terrorize and destroy your whole family." No pool.
It wasn't dead rabbits, was it?
Well, that's what your mom told you.
My
She didn't
mom.
want to get the pool.
I'm still
My
curious
mom
about that
dug
wink
up-
wink dream she had.
My mom was gardening one day, and she dug up a little China doll. And she always felt like there was a baby buried in the yard. But this China doll, the coloring on it was perfect. Who knows how many years? It looked like a soldier, little rolly hair, no arms, but just this China doll. So anyway, then one time my father was replacing the kitchen window, and he's banging around. He had the whole frame out, and clickety click down through the wall, right next to his hand, falls this pin.
Oh, she still has it.
It's a horseshoe, a gold horseshoe now, with this gorgeous diamond in the top. And then on the back is engraved, "From Jack to Florence, Christmas 1909.
And the psychic said Florence was this ghost in your house.
That is crazy.
Yes, and she killed Jack. Okay. Then,
oh my God.
Then one time,
that can't be a coincidence, man. All that
So maybe
stuff.
Jack was buried in the backyard, and the psychic medium was warning you not to dig it up.
Or in a bathtub in Cherry Hill. I don't know.
Oh.
That is no coincidence, man.
Or maybe she caught him over in Cherry Hill, killed him, and then buried him in the backyard.
There was, when we moved in, there was an ancient fish pond. And my father just knocked it down.
Yeah.
We didn't dig it up. And then one time I was going to sleep on the front porch. So it was an enclosed front porch. It was very hot. So I'm sleeping down there on a couch. And I was smoking. And I wasn't supposed to smoke. And I heard footsteps coming down the steps. And I peeked in the window and I couldn't see anybody. But I thought they just got down further than I could see them. And all of a sudden my dog starts barking like crazy and looks like she's following someone. And I just laid down and real still, and I felt 3 fingers go right across my mouth. It was so distinctive. I won't lay stiller in my grave. And then I just went to sleep.
I was telling you, stop that smoking. You're not supposed to be doing that.
Wow.
I know. Yeah, I really believe. I actually miss her.
Yeah.
She was like one of the family.
Yeah.
No one was afraid of her.
I've heard that before from other people that have had similar experiences, that they do kind of feel that way and they are sad. I think Andrea Perrin from that Conjuring house, she said she felt sad when she finally moved out of that house because she said there were other spirits in there that were friendly and nice to them. That's a bizarre thing.
Yeah, my brother went back to the house about, I don't know how many years after we moved out, and he got thrown off the steps.
Did he really?
Yeah, they
Holy
chased him.
cow.
They said, "Get the hell out of here. Go away, kid. You bother me."
So is that house still there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'll go by, and it's only one town.
Did you ever think of knocking on the door and be like, "Hey,
Dig you up your backyard?
Yeah, I really would like that China doll back.
Jack's in the
What
back"?
happened was,
That's all I'm gonna say.
the day we were moving, the day we were leaving, the last time, I put the pin in my pocketbook, and I went to put the China doll in my pocketbook, and I could not. It was March. I couldn't do it. Something was stopping me. I ran out of the house, and with my bare hands, I dug a hole
Get out of
in
here.
the yard, and I buried that doll again.
Wow.
Left it.
I think that was the right thing to do.
It would
For
belong
sure.
there. It had to stay.
Yeah.
Like the pin,
Yeah.
she almost gave it to us,
Yeah.
But she's saying the doll could not go.
but the doll was to stay.
Was it a conscious decision to bury, or do you think that you
I
were
just
guided
did
to do
It
it?
was March. I wanted that doll.
Yeah, you were guided
And
to do it.
I just was like, just out and buried the doll, and that's that.
Wow, that is
Isn't that
nuts.
crazy?
Wow.
Wouldn't that be
But
cool to find out if they were having the same experiences as you?
Yeah.
That's what I'm. Have you ever been tempted to just knock on the door and
Oh,
be like,
sure. Yeah, I'll
"Hey,
stay
this is
outside
gonna
for
sound a
few
little
minutes,
crazy."
and I stop the car and I say hi to Florence, and nothing happens, of course, but
But don't you think again? I wonder, like both ends of that spectrum. Like, if it were me and I was living there and stuff was going on, I would feel so relieved if somebody came and knocked on the door and goes, "Hey, I used to live here. You know,
I
is
think
there
they
anything
were having
weird
it.
going on in there?" I mean, what's the worst they could say is, "Get the
Get
hell
the-
out of here,
yeah.
you wacko."
Well, I
There's
mean,
nothing
our
going on here.
neighbors knew about Florence too, and
Yeah.
they said that they will not talk about it. The people that lived in the house right after we left,
Wow.
she said they don't bring it up. No, they don't want to hear nothing. They don't know.
I think it's funny how that
And they're the
neighbor
ones that threw my brother off the steps. And,
so reacted negatively to him.
so they don't-
for
they don't
whatever
want-
Yes,
reason.
very
The
negative.
people that live there don't want anything to do with
Yeah,
it.
now
and know
there's
about
different people in there now. I don't
Right.
know.
Oh.
What.
Wow, that was pretty good,
Yeah.
Luann. Who knew?
Yeah,
See, it was worth all that trouble getting on here, wasn't
Yeah, it was.
it?
And you got to see me.
And your fan base has doubled. You got to see all the comments here.
And I didn't drift away.
You didn't.
I
But
did
have
good.
you had any lingering effects or anything that's happened since you moved?
I would. So many things have happened. We also had a cursed anchor.
A what?
Cursed anchor
From a boat?
from a ship. Big old
Ooh,
anchor
okay.
forged in the 1700s. And everybody that had anything to do with that anchor died,
Where's that?
including
Anchor?
most of my family.
Where is
Oh,
it?
no.
Where's it now?
It's the Sweetwater Casino in South Jersey.
Get out of here. That's crazy.
Now, I warned the guy, you might not want this anchor.
And he took it because he doesn't believe in
Well,
it.
my sister-in-law, I shouldn't be saying this all on here. Never mind. I'm just
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that was enough. That was plenty. God, that was. Well, Luann,
Deep waters there with Luann.
I thank you for figuring it out and being so patient and coming on. That was
Thank
pretty
you
pretty
for
good stuff.
putting up with
That
me.
was worth it. That was worth it.
I hope so. I hope
I see you in a whole new light, if that's possible. All right, Luann, you have a good night. Thanks
I have a
again.
lot of lights. Good night. Thank you very much for having me. Right.
Thanks again. Talk to you
Okay.
soon.
Bye.
All right. There is one more person that I'm trying to get on here, and
There she is.
there she is. She made
There
it.
she is.
Okay. One more person we're going to try to fit in the last 14 minutes or so. I'm going to bring her on right now. This is Cynthia, everyone, and we met Cynthia last weekend. This past weekend. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just wanted to close the other one because I was getting an echo. You were on 2 tabs.
Okay.
Okay, great. Hi.
You good now?
I can hear you now. Good.
Okay. So we met Cynthia this past Mother's Day at the Creeper Gallery in New Hope when we went to go visit Donna.
Mhm.
Cynthia was there and she came over, introduced herself to us,
Xena
and
was there.
Yeah, Xena
Yeah.
was there in the back. She's so tiny.
such a cute dog. She's got this little tiny 4-pound dog that's adorable. And we spoke with her for a little while. Could I mention your sister and what she's doing, or you don't want me to?
Yeah, we won't mention her name. She doesn't like to go public with it, but yeah, my sister.
Okay, we won't even mention it then. We'll
Yeah,
skip
it's
over
fine.
that. So she had mentioned, she had sent me a message about paranormal experiences that she wanted to come on and talk about hers. So we didn't discuss this at the Creeper, so I'm interested in hearing it along with everybody else. So
Cool.
please share.
Okay, so it would have been late 60s, like 68, 69. I was like 13, 14 years old. I was in a boarding school for girls owned by the state, run by nuns.
Right.
So there was 3 dorms of about 20 girls each. Okay. As I said, a lot of a lot of teenage girls, a lot of hormones going
My
on.
mom was
May
in
have
one of
something
those
to do with
places.
it. So on the 3rd floor of the dormitory building was a rec room with a pool table, TV, all that stuff. And we're sitting there and we're watching TV. It's like after dinner, but not really dark yet. And it wasn't anything scary. If I remember correctly, it was like a Western or something. There's something generic that we're watching on the TV. And I glance over and you got the TV and the chairs, the steps, a little bit of a hallway, some offices, and a closet. And out of the closet is coming a nun. And you say, well, the place is run by nuns. What's unusual about that? Well, what was unusual about that was A, the closet door was closed, and B, you could see through this nun. Okay. It was very translucent. And she was floating out of the closet, no feet. Everything else was very clear and fairly substantial, but just like floating. So there was no feet. And I was just like, and I elbowed the girl next to me. She looked, she screamed, everybody else screamed. They ran downstairs. I went, oh my God, I'm by myself. And I go running downstairs because I realized suddenly I'm alone. And they're all telling the head nun that was, the person in charge of our dormitory, describing the same thing that I saw. So they all saw the same thing.
Wow.
And that sort of triggered a whole lot of other stuff that happened. It was on top of a hill in Wickatonk, New Jersey. It's actually still there and still used for something. But so you'd go down this winding road. It was owned by the Collier family who left it to the nuns.
Okay.
And so we're walking down, a bunch of us, and up in the trees, we see this horse and rider. Again, translucent, no noise. We just see this horse and rider moving through the trees. Well, of course, we take off and we're running. And we later found out, we didn't know this before, that there had actually been stables on the property at some point, that they were all like broken down and deteriorated out in the woods back when the family owned it. Wow. So there was like just a whole bunch of weird stuff that happened at that place.
So that the experience with the nun, mm-hmm. Did you tell the nuns about what you
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We all ran downstairs and like I said, everybody was already describing it before I got down there.
What was their reaction?
They kind of very stoic. They didn't, I think they just kind of dismissed it as a group hallucination or hysterical teenagers.
Girls being girls.
Yeah, they didn't really, she was very kind of tolerant and just very, like I said, stoic, like calm down, girls. It's, that's, ghosts don't exist kind of thing. It wasn't anything,
Do you think maybe that they were aware and they didn't want to encourage the idea?
It could be. I mean, that was like my first, and then later on you find out how rare full body apparitions are, and you realize my first experience is a full body apparition. It sort of solidified my path that I wanted to go on, which is kind of, doing this kind of thing.
I've only seen 2 in 20 something years.
Yeah. Well, I've never seen a full body since then. I've seen other things. I've seen other things, but that was my first.
Could you see features? Did she look young or old, or you really?
She actually, from what I remember, because it kind of burns into your memory, She was not that old. You know, she, like we had some old nuns, you know, those old wizened little nuns that are all hunched over. She was erect, and I would say, and I was a teenager. What did I consider old? You know,
Exactly. 30.
but I would say probably 40-ish, early
Okay.
50s. I mean, she wasn't like old and wizened and all gnarled or anything.
I think what's really unique about the story is the fact it wasn't one or two. All of you saw it.
Yeah.
That in itself is very unique as well.
Yeah.
No, what's unique is why one time only? Why
yeah,
not?
well, yeah, for the full body, I don't know. Like I said, it triggered a whole lot of other things that were more minor than that, you know. And I mean, even at that young age, I was kind of questioning, like, did we somehow trigger this hysterical response now? Because unless I saw it, I mean, not that I ever called anybody a liar, but you're always like, well, yeah, but like there was like at any time day or night you'd hear screaming somewhere in the building, and you'd go running, and they'd be blah, 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 this happened. Like there was a girl laying on the bed and another girl talking to her, and she said this hand came up over the headboard, smashed down, and she grabbed the girl off the bed to get it out of the way, and she goes, it left a handprint on the pillow.
What?
Well, that's a great story, but I didn't see it.
Yeah.
And you can't say, oh, well, they could have put the handprint on the pillow. You know what I mean? So there were a ton of stories and people seeing things, but I can only account for the like 4 that I saw with my own eyes, you know?
Yeah. I think those places, because, you know, the you know, religious and the beliefs and spirit and everything like that. My mom, who was not a person who believed in the paranormal at all, she was, forget it. I mean, I couldn't watch a sci-fi movie or anything. She thought it was all stupid and fake. And my mom had her one and only paranormal experience in a place similar to where you were. It was all girls. It was the nuns, state-run facility. And
what if it was the same one?
which is, I don't know if it was it might have been in Jersey, but her mother had passed and she didn't know it. Her mother was having an operation, and my mom didn't know her mom had passed during the operation. And her mom came to her in the state-run facility with the bandage on her head and told her it would be okay. My mom was the only story, and my mom, again, doesn't make things up. She never made things up. And I believed her. So, you know, those buildings, I mean, very well could hold that kind of energy.
Well, there was a graveyard on the property.
There you go. That too.
Because the family, of course, you know, a couple generations were buried there. And so when the nuns took it over, there was a couple nuns over there. And we were not, we would not do nice things sometimes in the cemetery because we were a little angry about being there. Let's put it that way. So, you know, needless to say, we started going back and bringing flowers and being very nice at the graveyard after everything started happening, you know. And another place was flooded. Another place, you know, another church, convent kind of place flooded. And they stacked up all the caskets in our garages. So for the longest
that'll
time,
do it.
We had a whole bunch of bodies that had been dispersed.
God, that's like straight out of a horror movie.
Oh my God! Someday, if I were a writer, this was the scene for the.
Like you said, Stephen King would write something like that.
Oh yeah, I should just send him this. He could run with it.
I'd be traumatized.
See, but again, what's weird is that again, my analytical brain says, why that day, why that time.
Why out of the closet?
Why out of the closet? Yeah. And every other night after that, for like a week or two, I would be like one eye open, looking at that closet. How could you not? I mean, all the girls had to be talking about it, right?
We did experiment with Ouija boards. We did. I mean, you know, we were young and didn't know.
Bingo! There we go.
So we all got, you know,
before or after.
You know, nothing really happened with the Ouija boards, but I do think we kind of opened something up and left it open, and I've always felt I should go back and close it.
You did that before or after?
After, but I'm not 100% sure that somebody else hadn't done it before.
Yeah,
I didn't get involved in it because the Ouija board was there. Suddenly, somebody brought it out and said, "Hey, let's see if we can contact it." So,
at the orphanage.
Well,
that crazy?
it was more of a state-run school. It was like girls
Okay.
who had home problems and couldn't stay at home. So
Gotcha.
so you're talking a lot of girls with a lot of emotional stuff
Yeah.
going on
Yeah.
and
Going
stuff.
through a lot of
And
different
that's going to
things.
create it, all
Yeah.
that
Yep,
angst.
the
Yeah.
hormones and
Yeah.
everything.
Wow, that was pretty good.
Yeah. And
Well,
the, well,
Cynthia, I appreciate you joining us, and I know we're going to see each other again down the road,
absolutely. Yep, definitely.
Creeper Gallery. So until we see you again, good meeting
Okay.
you, and thank you for taking the time to share.
You're welcome. Take care now.
Have a good
Bye.
night.
You too.
Let's take care of this. So after all that, all that trouble in the beginning, we had a pretty good hour session with Rhonda, Luann, and Cynthia.
Some really good stories.
These are
Wow.
these are the types of things that we enjoy doing because again, it's not us telling the stories, it's not us talking about the experiences. These are people that watch, like you guys watch, that follow, like you guys follow, and they're willing to share and look at the things that they've experienced. I mean, I met Luann 3-4 times, no idea about that experience that she had. Rhonda, I see Rhonda's name and commenting every night that we're on.
Yeah.
No idea what she was dealing with and what she was experiencing. I find this stuff, you're welcome, David. I find this stuff beyond fascinating. For me, it is just like, I could do this all night, for hours, just bring on people. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. Hope you had a good time with this. We had a great time.
We did. Stay well. Please be kind. It's important. Good night, everybody.
Night, guys.